Today I'll play as one of those Italian countries, and my goal is to unify Italy. Because honestly, what else am I gonna do? Doesn't matter. To achieve that, I need to take this territory. Some Italian states I'll be able to sway through politics, and some I'll have to conquer from Austria. And it just so happens that Austria in 1836 is one of the most powerful countries in the world. In theory, the easiest way to unify Italy is by playing as the two Sicilies, since they have a big army and a large population. But a big issue is low literacy and the fact that most people think paper is just for... Let's be honest, I'm way too weak to take on the Papal States or the others. That's why I went with Sardinia-Piedmont. The plus side is that it has a decent army and it's pretty modern too. And 5 ships, let's not forget the ships. High literacy. And in the capital, all the basic resources needed to build a modern industry are right there. The downside is that we're dirt poor. Luckily, I know how to fix that. For those not quite following, yes, I'm going for African gold. But before that, I can afford to research early industrial techs, especially boilers and everything up to railroads. And honestly, only then will I focus on nationalism. I researched it that late because all the Italian countries need to have it, and bots are inconsistent. Sometimes they get it fast, sometimes only after 20 years. And we all know how lucky I am in paradox games. Diplomatically, I start improving relations with France and Prussia, right away natural enemies of Austria. For interest zones, I pick South Africa and the Brazil region in South America, since there's a very easy country to conquer there. For rivals, I can easily pick Greece and the Ottoman Empire. The idea is to get 100% influence, so aggressive expansion drops fast once I get it, which is coming up soon. For now, my laws are actually pretty modern, so I won't touch them yet. In the budget, I raise taxes a little, reduce government spending, and start taxing services. Piedmont also gives me 3 decrees: road maintenance, social promotion, and industrial goods production. I'll throw in migration too, might come in handy. Like I said, we've got a small population. Oh, and also the social movement thing, almost forgot. I'll try to promote the intelligentsia here. As for production methods, I think they're all fine. We'll see if they stay that way once everything gets calculated. Which is what I'm doing now. And I can already see where the problems are. So in my larger lumber mill, I'm prioritizing normal wood, though I have to keep some leftover because I'm also building ships and I think that requires hardwood. Yep, it's here. I'm adding 4 construction sectors, 2 plantations and more logging camps. Then I'll reassess where I stand. Okay, got lucky. Mechanical tools will spread to me automatically, so I'm changing the research queue. Oh, and there's an event for corn loss, because grain just got super expensive. So let's slap a 45% export tariff on it, strong tariff, and all the conditions are met. The event has started, my interest zones are set, and I'm invading Gaza. I want to annex that state for myself. And it just so happens they have no army there, so the war will be quick. War, landing, and victory. I'll need a port in the area, so I'm building one. I'm also changing my army garrisons, so they're here now. And soon we'll be launching more attacks. Because really, gold mines are located here in Transvaal and Orange. From my smaller army, I'm moving some troops around, leaving just 5 behind. That's because I want a 5,000-man army here, ready for landings in South America. The territories I took in Africa and South America will remain unincorporated. That's because later on I'll be doing exploitation colonization, which boosts basic resource extraction. Including gold, South American foothold is established, and now I'm heading back to Africa to continue conquest there. And now that I have these footholds, I can expand my interest zones further. I'll add northern Germany and more of Africa. I need that region so I can mark those tiny German states as rivals. Just not Prussia, of course. And thanks to that, I can now start improving relations with basically all the Italian states and major powers at the same time. Meanwhile, in Africa, I already own 7 gold mines. Still haven't found any gold in Orange, but I'm sure it'll pop up eventually. Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks to Japan, where I was also supposed to have gold in those provinces. The bot even has it now, but I didn't get a single mine for half the game. And now that I've got gold, I can afford to build more construction sectors. I'll just do it slowly. And I'll take advantage of the fact that somehow the UK isn't protecting the Zulus, so I'm going to conquer them. Looks like the Zulus have a larger army now, but I should still win easily. Yeah, no problem winning these battles. You could say the African foothold is established. At least the early one, though it's not over yet. Now let those ports finish building. I'm too weak to attack those South American countries and make them my protectorates. Well, yeah, I'm not playing Spain, and I'm not a great power. At least not yet. The first law I want to pass is appointed bureaucrats. This will increase tax efficiency and the political strength of bureaucrats. And from what I see, most bureaucrats are intelligentsia. I'm not really forming alliances with the Italian states, I'm hunting for alliances with great powers. I'm also trying to import as many resources as I can now, either from Prussia or France, just to get strong trade flow going, which should help our relations. And look at that, it's 1840 and 0 Italian states have researched nationalism. But hey, ENEBA dropped a bunch of new promos, like they do every week. Lots of games at great prices, perfect time to catch up. By the way, has anyone played this game? Because I'm in the mood for an economic simulator, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. And for this weekend, I've got that special code for you, giving 8% off. To use it, just go through my links. Actually, I'll shift my spheres of influence from this region to Arabia for now and begin the conquest of that single state. Ooh, someone's going to help them. Alright then, they've got 1,000 troops, so I'm not really worried. In the end, it's still a one-on-one war. In the meantime, I'm also constructing my first steel mills and coal mines. I took this province because, truthfully, my next target is going to be Oman. Not the Arabian part though, but the part located in Zanzibar. Oman has 15,000 troops, which they mostly keep in their capital, so I want to bring my main army there to beat them without much trouble. And with my second army, I'll land directly on the target. The war has started, and I passed the tax reform law. Though it didn't really help me that much. After taking Zanzibar, I'm continuing the conquests in Arabia. There are plenty of these weaker Arab nations here. They're just another stepping stone toward my real goal, which is conquering the entire Ethiopia region. Meanwhile, I had to reduce my construction capacity because I was heavily in the red, but now I'm back in the green. Gold mines really do bring in a lot. Next up, I've researched more modern fertilizer methods. So yeah, first sulfur mine, first fertilizer factory. That should solve my food production issue for a while. Probably just for a very short while though. I'm also trying to enact the cultural exclusion law, however bad that may sound. It's actually a great law in this game, because it'll give me access to more agitators in my market. Right now, I can't use any of them. And honestly, I could really use this one liberal guy, but unfortunately he's North German culture. Or this other guy from Makoli, wherever that even is. It's really weird that I haven't gotten any agitator for the grain law yet. Every year I check all available agitators because I wanted to swap out the one from the intelligentsia, but I still haven't gotten lucky. Ideally, I want a free market agitator from the aristocracy. I probably missed him somewhere. Alright, I got distracted with laws and forgot about Ethiopia. Need to get back to conquest. Wow, I just clicked to declare war and they immediately agreed to hand over the province. Didn't even trigger a diplomatic play. How is that possible? Oh well, I'll keep pushing forward and go after some of the bigger nations now. And as for forming Ethiopia itself, I'll need to conquer the capital located in Gondar. Basically, to be able to release Ethiopia, I need to conquer most of that territory, including Gondar. Even though my enemies outnumber me, the conquests are going pretty smoothly. If you check the stats, it's clear they don't stand a chance. So yeah, I've conquered a fair chunk of Ethiopia already, but I've got a ton of infamy now, so I'll just let that decay for a bit. I've also got a lot of radicals. They don't bother me much though, since they're on unincorporated territory. There's barely any in Sardinia Piedmont itself, so now I'm releasing Ethiopia, which doesn't bring in a lot of money yet. But that changes pretty quickly. It's already looking way better. Unfortunately, my gold fields are drying up. It shows in my income, and soon I'll have to switch over to building regular mines. And yeah, there are quite a few of them here. They probably already switched over some time ago. Generally, gold mines are way more efficient than gold fields, you just have to build them. But first, I need way more iron mines, because I'm kind of low on iron. Alright, I researched nationalism in 48. Now I'll focus on the Central Archives and Postal Services. The winds of nationalism have begun to pass through the long-divided states of the Italian peninsula. Piedmontian patriots and romantic scholars alike have begun to call for the unification of a single Italian state. And honestly, that's what I want. To bring back the forgotten greatness of Italy, which will greatly strengthen the political power of the social groups I care about. But yeah, like I said, other countries haven't researched nationalism yet, so that unification will have to wait. With my attempt to introduce freedom of religion in my country, unfortunately, it seems I might face a small civil war. Small because only 3 regiments will be against me. And I guess it all blew over the moment I enacted the law. This now allows me to change employment in my universities and government buildings. I'm fully switching to bureaucrats, which should further weaken the clergy. I finally managed to sign a trade pact with France. Took a while to get there. Too bad France currently has Prussia as a rival and, unfortunately, an alliance with the USA. Which is honestly tragic for me. Other countries are finally beginning to research nationalism. We're already at 57%. So maybe Italian unification is on the horizon. I passed my colonial law and just look, 43,000 gold from my gold mines. And I've now boosted their efficiency by issuing mining edicts. This makes those mines 43% more efficient. And ahead of me is the founding of the gold company. Specifically the Piedmontese Gold Company. But first, I need to push forward my social research. It all aligns perfectly with the possibility of forming Italy, since all countries have now researched nationalism. That requirement has now disappeared. At this point, I can unify Italy in 2 ways. A completely peaceful route if we're afraid of conflict with Austria. Let's check it out. Oh yes, from what I see, 2 countries didn't join and I didn't get the Austrian part of Italy either. The second way is to start a diplomatic play, similar to how you'd unify Germany. I'll mainly be up against Austria, Krakow, Parma and Lucca, as well as Russia and Bavaria. Luckily, I'll be able to sway France and Prussia to my side. Probably not many more countries will support me. I'll try to persuade France by going into debt to them, and Prussia, with a war goal, gaining the lead in the German unification process. Honestly, that sounds like the best option right now. I also inherited all the territories of the Italian states that supported me in this war. Unfortunately, they are not yet integrated. and I have some financial issues. I'm screwed if this doesn't end before bankruptcy. Unfortunately, I'll be facing Russia since it's allied with Austria. I know there are some tricks to drag Russia into a smaller war so they wouldn't join this one, but I just can't get it to work. I also want war reparations from Austria. From what I see, all the extra territories I can conquer I'll get anyway through Italian unification. Look, they're the exact same territories, just without aggressive expansion. So instead, I can weaken Austria further, maybe force them to release someone. But sadly, it's only those few countries. That's likely because I didn't declare interest in those regions. My mistake. So let's prepare for this war. I've changed my influence spheres, and now I'll start the diplomatic play for Italian unification. I also want to release a few countries from Austria. Perfect, and right away I'm also threatened with a civil war in Zanzibar. To arms. My tactic here is very simple. Click off all that junk at the top, it annoys me when everything's red. My armies will now just stand and defend. I hope the French push through this whole front and that the Germans hold the line on the Russian border. Russia shouldn't have a strong army, they should be getting wrecked. This will be a classic war of attrition. I'll wait until the French capture some ground, then we'll gain the upper hand and do more. Look at those manpower bars dropping fast. Manpower bars are the blue ones. At the right moment, my armies will strike. Oh, I'm getting some amazing General Giuseppe. And immediately I think of pizza. By the way, this frozen one is way better than most pizzas I've eaten in Katowice. Sad but true. He's a bearded guy and from what I see, experienced in maneuvering. Too bad he's a communist. And I see that the war with Austria over unifying Italy has a lot of events. I can even speed up barracks construction. Hey, I'll do that because I need to expand my army. I've never done that before, building troops mid-war. Let's see how that goes. So far things seem to be going well. We're holding the front line, the Russians are burning out beautifully in Prussia. Oh, and the rebellion has ended. Probably the rebels went into uniform. And here the French are pushing everything. I'm not even doing anything, it's all French troops. Or Prussian. Probably the Prussians are winning here. That's thanks to me relieving pressure by fighting over Lucca. Beautiful, we won the Battle of Lucca. Russian forces are retreating. So now I need to redeploy my troops. Actually, they moved on their own, whatever. We attack. Literally, our Giuseppe is attacking now, though he's stuck in the mud. But he has a solid advantage over the enemy. Meanwhile, on the Prussian front, the Russians have completely burned out. Prussians now even have numerical superiority, though it's still far from any reasonable peace deal from what I see. Lucca has fallen, and now France offers me military support. Of course, at the cost of goods, we'll get faster troop training and tech boosts. I'll accept their offer. Parma has also fallen, and it looks like another front will soon open for Austria. Yes, literally any moment now, Russian and Austrian troops will also have to fight on the Ottoman front. So I just have to hold out until that happens. Unless the empire backs out. But Bavaria surrendered. Nice. And there it is. They're at war. So now the Austrians are in deep trouble. They're fighting on every border. That should soon collapse their front, especially since Russia just capitulated. And now, on both the Italian and Prussian fronts, I have such an advantage, it's just a matter of time before I reach Vienna. Bohemia has already fallen. The battle for Vienna is underway. Did I seriously just call Moravia Vienna? Haven't done that in my episodes yet. And finally, the ticking and countdown has begun. Austria has capitulated, and I gained a lot of territory. Bohemia is free, a little bonus, then I released Venice, Tuscany and Sicily from myself, and using the diplomatic trade states option, I transfer to them all the states here. If there's a faster method, feel free to let me know, I don't know any. So ultimately, my Italy is beautifully fragmented. But I didn't do this to improve my income, oh no. Though I do make decent cash from diplomatic packs. I did this to form Italy, yes. Viva Italia, 20% extra prestige, very nice. And now, because I handed over those territories, they should all be states. At least most of them are. Not sure what that depends on. Some are, some aren't. Oh, there's this trade state option. Exactly 5 areas aren't my states, and I have to manually attach them to Italy. And to show you that this trick works, I've now rolled back my save. Going into state action all the unincorporated states, the whole of Italy. I form Italy without giving provinces to vassals. Perfect, viva! And it's still 20 states. So it's probably worth doing this trick. You'll still spend over 2000 bureaucracy points, but won't have to wait 2 years. Unifying Italy brings lots of positives, but also a lot of work. The first and biggest problem to solve is tax efficiency. So maybe I'll build more gold mines? Nah, just kidding. I'm building government offices in the provinces with penalties. Now, as United Italy, I'm a great power, so debt isn't as painful. Interest rates are much lower than for other countries, and I'll manage. I modernized most of my production methods, I had a lot of backlogs. And immediately the central archive popped in. How can you not love bureaucracy? But we're moving into documentation. Okay, I tweaked some more stuff. My main issue was not noticing that many of my production methods reverted to basic ones. Even though, in theory, using the auto setting should keep the best methods I picked. But whatever. The economy is doing a small boom. Oh, but I still have 440,000 unemployed. For now, I'm solving market shortages mostly by importing everything. I want my citizens to have access to cheaper goods. Later, I'll work on domestic production. The main thing is to secure all the goods needed for building factories. All other processed goods I'll import for now. I'm also expanding my navy. I formed a defensive alliance with France, and now I'll try to change the voting system in my country to wealth-based voting. Since I've already managed to unify Italy, okay, maybe a bit late, but I really had very little influence over that, it's time to aim for regional dominance in the Mediterranean basin. And honestly, the best way to do that would be through a system of tributaries, protectorates, and vassals. So I'm founding my own block of great powers. Of course, under an independent empire, which I'm calling the New Roman Empire. Unfortunately, this will slightly worsen my relations with neighboring countries, but this is the moment when Italy must reach for greatness, with the help of Ethiopia for now. Just before I start my wars, I'll focus on building a new company. An Italian gold company that will further increase the efficiency of my gold mines, and right now I'm producing around 67,000 gold on my own, 22,000 from my provinces. I'm curious how much that will be once my company develops. And it'll take a while, since that green bar has to reach the max. In Sicily, I'm setting up new development centers, since I have a lot of unemployed people and that'll get them working quickly. As for conquest, Greece will be the first target. After all, what's a Roman Empire without Greece? I'll just prepare an invasion army with a width of 21st. Unfortunately, it looks like I'll have a very small fleet for now. Also, Russia joined the war against me, since they're guaranteeing Greece's independence. Yes, I totally didn't forget about that. While checking what I could gain from Russia, I found something like Russian America. A new voting system has also been passed in my country. The more wealth you have, the more votes you get. After the first elections, not much changed in the government. Oh well, we'll see in the next ones. It seems my invasion of Greece is going quite well, since Greece didn't seem to raise an army. Meanwhile, the Russians tried some naval landings on me, but they don't really pose a threat. Most of my army is stationed in Italy. I'm currently facing a bit of a problem on the Greek front. A lot of Russians showed up, so I'm switching to defense mode for now, while they have the upper hand. Even though my stats are a bit better than theirs, I'll move some troops from my army in Italy over to Greece to ease the pressure. Now that our forces are evenly matched, I'll stay on the defensive to wear down the Russian troops. Whenever you have even forces but better troop quality, it's best to defend. That way, you exhaust your enemy and win the war in the long run. Actually, with Ethiopia arriving to help, maybe I'll switch back to offense. With the help of the Ethiopians, I pushed the Russians out of Greece, which probably ends the war. Beautiful victory. Now, the most important thing is to improve relations with Greece to make them more loyal, and to start worsening relations with the Ottoman Empire. I want to take advantage of the moment, since the Ottomans are at war with France from what I can see. So I attacked them myself, aiming to liberate Syria, but in reality I want to take Egypt from them. Oh, and later in the game I noticed I'll be able to return Thessalia to Greece as well, which means I'll probably go down the Byzantine path for this country at some point. For those who know the game better, quick question. Does the tactic I used in EU4, where I reclaim provinces for vassals and then annex them, make sense in Victoria? Let me know in the comments below. My goal will be to take Constantinople, and I'm sending most of my army to the Greek border. You know what's the worst? I once again forgot to change the mobilization, supply and medical support methods for my armies. And you really shouldn't do that during wartime, it tanks morale fast. But I have to remember that for next time. Though it might not even matter against the Ottoman Empire, since they're drained after the war with France. Their armies are dropping like flies, quick landing in Egypt to take the capital. And I was surprised to see Egypt as a better army than the Ottoman Empire, so I'm switching to defense here. Well then, Constantinople captured, so I'm switching everywhere to defense. Or maybe not. For some reason, the Ottoman Empire isn't taking any penalties. Did something change in the wars so that capturing the capital no longer determines victory? No matter, I'll take advantage of the Ottoman army's exhaustion and push forward again, attacking onward. And now I've hit a stalemate on the front. I can't push through Egypt's army and they can't push through mine. Still fighting though, gonna try raising another army to land somewhere and confuse the AI. For now, I'm still using my defensive tactics to inflict higher losses on the enemy. Okay, another quick landing in Egypt. And that eventually led to a win and full Egyptian annexation. A few years later, after another round of elections, my government became more liberal. Not super popular, but I'll pass a few key laws now. Switching religious schools to public ones, and so on. By the way, my gold mines became way more efficient. I forgot to show that when the gold company's prosperity maxed out. Okay, after a long while, I've got public schools. And soon after, I built a few universities to reach my current research cap. Not much, only 127 points. After discovering nitroglycerin and soon dynamite, I'm building lots of boom factories. And okay, I'll need a lot of sulfur, paper and fertilizer. So now I'm building all those sectors in Sicily. That's because after a certain volcanic eruption, the region gets massive sulfur deposits and its increased mining efficiency. and sulfur will be the base resource here. As for explosives, I use nitroglycerin only in gold mines, nowhere else. Only once I get dynamite will I start using it in all my mines, because it greatly increases gold income. And casualties are low, dynamite is safer. Awesome, dynamite is ready. Curious how much I'll be missing soon. Let's focus on my coal first. Okay, it's a bit lacking, and I got so caught up building my economy again that I forgot about the wars I was supposed to be fighting. On the upside, aggressive expansion dropped, so now I'll start another war with the Ottoman Empire to liberate Syria, though I thought I already did that. I could make the Ottomans my protectorate, but maybe not yet. I'll just return some states to Greece. And I think I made a mistake by liberating Bulgaria. Oh well, because if I remember right, some of those Bulgarian provinces should have gone to Greece. Not expecting major issues in this war since the Ottomans went in alone, no allies. You know why I love dynamite? Okay, first of all, because it goes boom. Secondly, using it in mines means I now have a surplus of base resources. Finally, plenty of iron, plenty of coal, perfect. And my landing in Constantinople worked too, crushed the Ottoman army and won that war easily. Meanwhile, I'll worsen relations with Bulgaria to justify an attack soon. By the way, my gold mines are now producing even more. So first things first, I'll take Bulgaria starting with a naval landing. Unfortunately, Russia intervened. Oh, and now my army is about equal to Russia's, at least initially, but then it dropped off. They're retreating. And suddenly I won the war. What just happened? Seriously, this game has some weird bugs. Anyway, Bulgaria is my protectorate. Interesting, I see a decision to return Savoy to France. No idea why I'd do that. Honestly, I'd rather take its territory back, but maybe I could build the Suez Canal too. Pretty sure I've never done that before. Also, my economy is starting to lack a navy, specifically a trade navy. Military fleet I'm already expanding, so I'll probably build ports across all of Italy now. Maxed out. Wait, what's this? Hello? I also saved up 1000 admin points, so I'm checking if I can build the Suez Canal. Should take 18 months. Whoop! Jesus, no, it's just a block of states. I thought a coalition had formed against me, but no. Spain just picked the perfect moment. I wanted to attack them anyway, to take their islands and release a bunch of nations. Weird, I can release 2 subjects from Spain, but for example, Catalonia isn't an option. I can only free Andalusia. Luckily, France is on my side, so this war should be easier. By the way, did I show you how much I've colonized in Africa? Honestly, I think I'm breaking a personal record here. Turns out building the Suez Canal is possible. Surprise, right? Oof, a bit expensive. 30,000 gold over 9 years. Maybe after this war, I've got a feeling I might struggle taking these islands, seeing where my troops are dying, and that there are 177,000 Spanish troops here. Oops. Or was this all really about taking the Philippines? Either way, I won the war with Spain and managed to shrink them a bit. I'm hoping all these nations will eventually become my vassals. I wanted a quick war to take Morocco now, but unfortunately Austria and Tunis joined the fight. I'll probably just focus on Austria. Okay, they surrendered without a fight. Meanwhile, my tech advanced significantly, so I'm upgrading my public healthcare system to level 4, colonies further, and healthcare. I think it's also time to switch to a more proportional tax system, because now I'm finally making over 4,000, and that'll help fund the Suez Canal. Right now, I think the most important thing for me is to catch up on my military technology as quickly as possible. Because soon I'll be facing off against France, which has a truly powerful army, even though it's supposedly only the 4th strongest in the world. India has the largest one, then Russia, and then Prussia. Maybe I should try to establish better relations with Prussia. Technically, Prussia likes me, but for some reason they don't want any alliances or anything like that, especially since they don't have any alliances themselves. My truce with the Ottoman Empire has also ended, so I'm attacking them again. My goal is to conquer Cyprus for myself, but also to liberate a few other nations and grab another province for Greece. And Turkey has declared war on me. Yay! I'm launching 2 naval invasions at once. It should work. After this war in the Balkans, I have to admit things got very colorful. So colorful, in fact, that a communist revolt broke out. Probably because I'm trying to introduce laissez-faire policies in my country, but hey, it's high time they started working. My investors have massive capital they could be putting into building up this country. And yet, I went ahead and started building the Suez Canal. At least I think I did. I don't see any construction going on. Wait, do I have to click on it? What? I have to click it. Really? So not only am I paying $30,000 a month for it, but I also have to manually build the Suez Canal. Who came up with that? This construction is going to take a while. And eventually, the revolutionaries demanded the creation of the Roman Republic. But we all know how the creation of that kind of republic ended. So, according to Italian tradition, it's time for a civil war. Oh no, revolution. Honestly, the worst part of this revolution is that it'll mess with my production methods. I really hate that. Luckily, no one seems willing to support the communist revolt, right? All the countries are one by one declaring neutrality. And that's the end of the Italian communist revolution. After that war, something is seriously off with my market. Suddenly, I'm short 2,000 units of fish, 3,500 of food, and I used to have a surplus. What happened here? I returned Constantinople to the motherland, or rather, I'm just handing it over to Greece because I got it for cheap. Although they don't want it, well, fine then, maybe I used the wrong casus belli. Oh, and I have the Suez Canal now, whatever it gives me, because honestly, I have no clue what it actually does. It increases urbanization, boosts my prestige, and increases migration to that territory. Anything else? Oh, and France's attitude toward me changed. Now I'm their conquest target. Not surprising, they've got the strongest army in the world. I'm really curious how they can even afford such an army. Unless it's just infantry with no artillery. But I also forgot to adjust the attitudes of a few countries toward me, to be honest. And now I'm raking in cash from diplomatic pacts, even though I reduced my influence in most countries to make them more loyal. Look, Egypt is paying me 64,000. Very nice. And honestly, since I'm such a powerful country making so much money, it's time to build a mighty navy. And I'll modernize my armies too, so they're all 100,000 strong. And as far as social changes go in my country, I've basically achieved everything I wanted. I do have issues with women's and children's rights, but no one seems to want to push those laws through. But thanks to that, I actually have a pretty decent population growth as Italy. And eternal glory has come to the Italian Empire because I built the first skyscraper in the world. Piedmont, where is it though? I don't see it. Ah, right, the icon's blocking it. And now it's time to finally make the Ottoman Empire my protectorate. It'll cost me a bunch of infamy, but honestly, I was expecting that. Oh no, America is going to support them. Luckily, from what I see, the US army is ranked 9th in the world and mine is second right after France. I've sent 200,000 of my troops to the front against the combined Turkish-American forces, but I'm also launching a landing behind enemy lines in that province. It's now a new garrison zone, so I'm not risking anything. And I think I definitely have a quality advantage over the Turkish-American alliance. Look at that, the American army got completely wiped out after that battle. We're pushing toward Ankara, which is now the new Turkish capital. The Yankees don't stand a chance, they've got better stats, sure, but without artillery, they're just being gunned down. The funny thing is, even though my opponents technically combined their forces, they could have twice as many troops as I do, but they still can't win. They're basically taking double the casualties I am. A year later, I've pushed the Turks into total defense mode, the Americans exited the war, and another rebellion broke out in Bulgaria. And honestly, I've pretty much brought most of the Mediterranean under my control. Sorry, but I won't be finishing this. At this point, the game is running so slowly that I'm not enjoying it anymore. If you know any ways to speed this game up so it runs better, let me know in the comments. Also let me know in the comments if you're missing anything in these Victoria episodes, or if I should focus more on certain things or skip others. I'm waiting for your thoughts.